Hi everyone, Bankthan Erupt Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Weezer project, SZNZ. Spring. Legendary alt-rock band Weezer beginning a new chapter in their prolific release schedule as of late, SZNZ, which was announced months ago and originally set to be a series of albums that were released in succession with the seasons of the year: spring, summer, fall, winter. And of course we are now getting the first one here, spring, which I thought originally was going to be an album as opposed to something more of an EP length, but still 4 projects in 1 year that range about 20 minutes in length is still a lot of material for a band or any artist to drop within this span of time. Now, I can't imagine Weezer would embark on this project if each little record here wasn't going to have its own sound and aesthetics and personality, because Weezer has been pretty good at committing to a theme, a concept as of late, whether it be the over-the-top hard rockisms of Van Weezer, the covers record Teal that they did, as well as the chamber pop all over OK Human. And spring here does sound in its own way very bright and flowery and warm in the way that I think a spring record should. There are a lot of guitar passages that are distorted, thick, heavy, a little rough around the edges, much like the band is trying to recapture the vibes of their earliest works, or maybe even the Maladroit era, which at this point, let's come face to face with the fact that that's 20 years old now. I think the opener on Spring is the perfect example of this dynamic. The choruses are classic Weezer in just about every way they can be. The thumping drums, the droning guitar chords, which are of course topped by Rivers' boyish and sweet vocal melodies. But then there's also sections where Rivers is singing licks from Vivaldi's Four Seasons, specifically the spring section, which pause does make me kind of wonder, is the band going to take sections from the other 3 movements of this piece on the remaining EPs in this SZNZ thing? But yeah, I'm not messing with you. Weezer is just copying and pasting Vivaldi bits over what sounds like instrumentation from your local Renaissance fair. And the lyrics, Shakespeare makes me happy, Shakespeare makes me happy, so happy. Like, I see the contrast here, and I get the contrast, but it mostly feels like a weird novelty. I much prefer the song Angels on Vacation, which also has its own interesting fusions going on. For one, the religious nods in the lyrics, as well as the intro to the song sounding like Weezer trying to capture the vibes of a hymn. And the rest of it beyond that is a pretty straightforward power pop tune with the classic Weezer guitars and chord progressions. The springy, bright melodies and acoustic bits that are worked into the song don't come off as tacky. They're smoothly implemented. But beyond this point, I think the track list takes a bit of a nosedive. There's a little bit of love, which from the lyrics, the tune, the plucky acoustic instrumentation, I feel like I'm listening to a royalty-free YouTube instrumental, very much a family vlog type beat. There's something really transparent about the bright and saccharine veneer on it. It's like staring into the cold and fearful eyes of children that know they're not going to get ice cream later if they don't behave for the camera. The song Garden of Eden is another biblical nod in more ways than one, because the chorus is so sloppy and horrid that this is exactly what being cast out of the Garden of Eden must have felt like. Which is unfortunate, because the verses generally sound like that of a very mellow and pretty 60s pop soul tune, but with a cleaner, more modern sound that obviously tracks better on a Weezer record. But then that whole vibe is completely obliterated by these oppressive guitars on the chorus. Sound of drums is another kind of quaint number in the track list. Some mallet instrumentation in the mix, as well as wheezy chords. It's groovy but light on the ears, and I think makes a more effective transition into the heavier guitars on the hook than some of the songs prior. The cute lyrics about seeing your friends again and getting back together, there's definitely some post-pandemic vibe going on. The tune is catchy and the performance is fun and a little rowdy, but not so much so that you'll get the cops called on you. Then All This Love is a grand proclamation of the love that Rivers has to give and he's been holding in. I suppose again, with being cooped up for so long, he makes mention of forgetting how to sing with a mask on his mouth. I got all this love that I've been saving up, let me let it out. He clearly has no interest in social distancing. Just make sure you're boostered, because I hear that galloping groove on the hook. You are obviously on your way to hug someone. Then we have a relatively strong closer with Wild at Heart, which I think is one of the more interesting cuts here performance-wise, not just because it's a little rough around the edges and raw, but a lot of the rhythm section sounds like they tracked it live, and the recording I think is better overall for it. The guitars and drums are really heavy and peppy, and the bits of synthesizer and vocal harmonies that are laced in on top of it are nice touches. The whole thing sounds bright, energetic, youthful, free, which I think is exactly the balance the band was trying to strike as much as they could on this project. Does Weezer hit the bullseye every time? No, I do not think they do, but it's consistent enough to see what Weezer is going for. The track list overall, while short, is also a mixed bag. There are a few good ones, a few mid ones, a few dumpy ones, but spring can be a rough season. You have those April showers and those May flowers, so I'm hoping that the summer record is a bit more of a smooth ride. I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this transition. Have you given this EP a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Weezer, Spring, Seasons, forever.